Hey, what's up everybody? Brad the Autologist here. This video I want to do a response to a recent video that Rob Chapman made entitled The End of an Era and the Worrying Conclusion, in which he lays out a very good case for, a lot of the new technologies that are replacing, supplanting old style tube amplifiers, all the old classics. In it, he makes a very good case and he makes a very good video, actually. I definitely encourage you to go watch his video before you watch this response. But Rob, he's been around for a long time. He's made a lot of good videos over the years. He's been on YouTube for like 18 years, he claims. I've been almost as long on YouTube. I think 2007 is when I set up my accounts. He's also been playing for, he claims, 32 years, which I think is exactly how long I've been playing. I think I started in 1990, 90 or 91. So yeah, 32, 33 years. So we're right there in terms of age, in terms of experience, in terms of, well, he's got a lot more touring experience and things like that for sure that I can't claim. But, one thing I can claim is that I have a lot more experience probably in repairing amplifiers and looking at the guts of amplifiers and seeing the new technology versus the old technology and the methods of construction. I can sort of point out some things that perhaps some other people like Rob can't really speak all that intelligently necessarily to. It's no offense to Rob or anyone else, who has their own opinions on these sorts of things. They have a valid opinion. However, I think my opinion does carry some measure of weight and does carry some experience behind it. Much in the same way that a car mechanic who has been a mechanic for, 20 or 30 or 40 years, who has seen the slow progression from vehicles that had zero computers in them, from like the 1970s and before, to gradually having more and more computer technology in them and more things that could break that are not necessarily easy to fix if you can't get that particular discrete part. Like if you can't get a certain board or something, you're pretty much screwed. Unless you can do surface mount soldering on basically a computer chip level and diagnostics on that sort of level, the economics of replacing something like that, whether it's in a combine, a tractor, whether it's in a vehicle, or whether it's in your tube amplifier, there are a lot of things that can go wrong that could basically make that object landfill. The other problem with it that I have encountered personally is the whole right to repair movement. It's something that they have pointed out, where they've talked about people who own these combines, John Deere's for instance, and John Deere won't stand behind their combines. They won't give owners of these tractors and combines like the codes or the software they need to get in and diagnose problems with their equipment, that they have to actually transport them to their nearest authorized John Deere service center in order to get the thing repaired, which could be hundreds of miles away. And how are you going to move a combine, hundreds of miles? It doesn't make any sense. So there's a element of planned obsolescence that's built into these things. There's a popular video about the obsolescence of light bulbs, the planned obsolescence, and how planned obsolescence was basically created in like the 1940s by companies like GE, who wanted to create a forever market for their products, for their light bulbs. Because if you make a light bulb that lasts for freaking ever, I mean, who's gonna buy new light bulbs? Eventually your factory is gonna have to fold, right? If you know how to repair or maintain your own stuff and you do it on a semi-routine basis before things go horribly wrong, like a power transformer or something gets smoked, your tube amplifier that is from the 1950s, 60s, 70s will probably last the rest of your life, the rest of your children's lives, and probably the rest of their children's lives as well. The planned obsolescence has taken over to such a degree. It's almost like the conspiracy theorists are right when they point out, that the Klaus Schwabs of the world want you to own nothing and be happy. They want you to live in a very tiny apartment and have zero objects around you that confer any kind of wealth or meaning or emotional connection or element of freedom about them from their systems of control and corporation and overlordship. Call me crazy if you want to, but I think my opinions are borne out. You can watch YouTubers like Scotty Kilmer who do videos on vehicles. This is even worse, the way that they're doing it with vehicles, because this is your right to travel. So it's a little more fundamental than a guitarist's right to rock, right? Well, arguably. But yeah, guitarists, you have a right to rock, just as we all have a right to travel, I believe. And, if they can somehow get in the middle of that, or somehow put this planned obsolescence scheme in effect in the middle of this relationship between you and the object that allows you or gives you this sort of freedom, then they have control over you. They have control over your lives in a way, right? To me, this is the most important thing. It's like, do I have an object here that I myself can repair if it goes down? Or do I have an object here that if it goes down, I have to go beg and crawl to a company and say, hey, do you have this board? Because I can't repair this board on a sort of molecular level on an SMD board. I don't have the skills to do that, and nobody else wants to take it in because the stuff is so cheap that really it's just garbage now. Do you have these boards? Well, no, we don't have the boards. Okay, well, do you have the schematics so I can repair it? No, we don't offer schematics. What are you going to do at that point? Wouldn't you rather have something that you yourself own, that you yourself know that is going to be alive and kicking and working and rocking for the next 40, 50, 60, even 100 years? Or would you rather have something that maybe in 20 years time, if you're lucky, 25 years, best case scenario, will break down, you won't be able to get schematics, or it'll be obsolescent in some other way that you'll just have to throw it away. I know which one I prefer. Maybe I'm biased, and some of you can say I'm biased. Say, hey, Brad, you're a guy who repairs amplifiers. You have a built-in, you have a bias. And yeah, you're probably right. I do have a bias. But guess what? I taught myself to repair amplifiers. I could teach myself to repair something else. It's not as if I couldn't do it. It's that the difficulty level goes up. And it's like the difficulty level between fixing an old 1960s Chevy truck or Ford truck and fixing something that's from, a couple years ago. You put that mechanic who can fix the 1960s and 70s Chevy truck in a room with all the documentation and everything to fix the new truck. I bet you nine mechanics out of 10 could come up with a solution that would work and fix the new vehicle. It's not about that. What it's about is the time that you have to invest, the time that you have to give somebody, the reliance on the manufacturer's goodwill to get the documentation, the schematics, the parts that you're going to need for these new vehicles. Because going down on an SMD chip level and soldering this stuff is a lot different than taking the overhead valves off and replacing a gasket or something like that. It's a difference in skill level, yes, but it's also a difference in just the backing that you receive from the new companies that you're relying upon to get your tone or to have your freedom to rock. And to me, that's what this is all about. It comes down to this. It comes down to, do I want to be beholden to companies that yes, offer me more flexibility, more convenience and all this, or do I want to be master of my own little world, a master of my own little destiny, and pursue rock and roll or tones or whatever tones I want on my own time and with the equipment that I know I can fix or I know I can continue to have fixed, as long as they are still producing parts. And here's the problem that I see, and this is, this is something that Rob sort of touched upon. He didn't really go too much into this, but if we go too much further down this road where there are no consumers at all for the old stuff, for all these old tube amps, the stuff that I have frankly filled my house with and surrounded myself with, maybe to a fault. If we continue to go this direction and we continue to rely upon all these new technologies and we sort of neglect all of our old stuff that's sitting in the closet, the problem we may eventually run into is that the couple of remaining, and we're only down to like one or two manufacturers of valves, tubes in the entire world, eventually those will fold and nobody will be able to produce new tubes because they won't have markets for those anymore. And then it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy that all the stuff that we could at one time fix, now we can't fix it because everybody's moved to the new technology and neglected all of the systems of production for the stuff that would have allowed us to fix our own stuff. So we are falling into a trap that to me is very dangerous on multiple levels. We've done it with transportation and our vehicles. We've done it with our farming systems. We allow people like Bill Gates to buy up all the farms, all the farmland. And we just think we're just kind of looking the other way. It's like, okay, well, they're just billionaires will billionaire, won't they? Okay. No, it's a little bit more serious than that. You know, they've taken control of all of the medical systems and things like this. So they're buying up all the houses. They're buying up all the intellectual property, all of the song catalogs. And I've done videos on this where even a BlackRock subsidiary is buying up all the song catalogs in the world. The problem is we're relinquishing way too much control. And if we continue to do this to ourselves, that right to rock that we once had and that we all once enjoyed will go away and will not be there for our progeny, for our children and their children. You know, we're already being replaced in so many ways with AI. You know, one of the oldest professions in the world, writers who are being supplanted by AI. You have the oldest profession in the world, even the OnlyFans thoughts, who are being supplanted by AI. And we now have AI that can compose songs, albeit not very good ones. And, you know, we just saw the end of Kiss's touring, and they came on stage afterwards and said, you know, this is the end of an era. Kiss will no longer tour, but it's a new era in Kiss. And what does that mean? Okay, well, right after that, up on the screen, a big projection comes up, and it's all the members of KISS as AI, as holograms. Basically, what they're signaling is, yes, the new era of AI-generated or holographic concerts is upon us. All these old legacy acts are signing away their IP or signing their IP up for this kind of show. And this will be the standard, the norm going forward into the future. So at what point will we look back on this time and say, okay, this was wrong of us to pursue this miniaturization of everything and even the disappearance of actual gear, because what it ended up in is the disappearance of the artist himself. And that would be a very, very sad day for humanity indeed. So anyway, that is my response to Rob Chapman's video. If you guys have responses of your own, I'd like to see them down below in the comments, or link me to a video that you make. I would like to hear from each and every one of you. So yeah, that'll do it for this one. Hope you guys enjoy. And for now, we'll see y'all later.